Hi guys. I will try to be fast here. I was going to talk about the possibility that I was Mary Queen of Scots. Not that anyone would be interested, but I don't know. To me, if you're interested in past lives, um, it doesn't have to be about me. I always say it doesn't have to be about me. Take from it what resonates with you and teaches you anything about past lives. This is just my experience, and I've got Coco here, so. And I've got itchy cat hair on my nose, but that's part of loving Coco, and that's okay. So I, grew up thinking that I probably had in a past life, and I always have believed in past lives, and I've always believed in the other side. I've had dreams where I've been in heaven. Um, I've had many spiritual experiences that have proven to me that there is spiritual life. That this really is just not even the real deal here. We have a body, but the real deal is you know what you would call heaven or the other side or what have you. So I've always believed in past lives. I've always believed in reincarnation, and but I never thought, oh, I was queen until the day it was Sybil, and she was reading and she saw my birth chart and she said, we were talking about what was I possibly um, Anne Frank, because I've had strong um, feelings about um, empathically feeling what Anne Frank went through. Like, even when I saw the movie, I ran and hid behind a chair in the scene where the Gestapo came up to get her and her family in the annex, because just in my mind, it was happening to me. And my mother looked at me like, what the? But that is something. I've also had the same thing about the Titanic. But I think that's more being an empath. So Sybil and I were talking about that, but she said, let me look at this. And then she said, oh, you're a queen. And I thought, Mary Queen of Scots. I've never thought that in my life ever. I've never thought, oh, I was Mary Queen of Scots. Never, until she said that. And it popped in my head. So after the reading, I Googled, and as we all do, and I saw the stats for Mary Queen of Scots and how she was isolated. I went through a huge time of isolation in my life, and I had gone to safe home for therapy. My email was hacked. I still feel like I get hacked and I don't get emails. Things with agents disappeared, my mail thrown in the trash, phone calls diverted, social media diverted, even the internet and phone would be turned off. I had years of my life where I was in complete and total isolation. And that's what Mary Queen of Scots went through. But then if you talk about a physical thing, like, she even had her mail diverted. She was isolated in castles, kept away. Her only friends were animals. That's me. I spent a long time where it was just me and my animals, literally. So, they've become my best friends and companions. Yeah, anyway. So I looked up her physical stats. Okay, hazel eyes, long neck, red hair, freckles, the long neck. I remember one time my ex said to me, just out of nowhere, I've always felt this strange, and he said, you have such a long neck. And I was like, okay, that's a compliment, but that's also like, what? But now it makes sense. And also, oh, and the height, I'm the same height as Mary. And so I was in grade school and it was Halloween, and there was an entertainer who brought a guillotine. I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. Who brings a guillotine? It was fake, obviously, but it was prop. But who brings a guillotine to a grade school magician program? Well, he asked, I was frozen. I was like, terror. I still remember that feeling of terror. And he asked for a volunteer, and a big boy, like fourth grader, went up there. And of course, he lived, but I still remember that the terror of this guillotine. And now, thinking that I might possibly have been Mary Queen of Scots, I'm like, that makes sense, because our past lives often show up like that in our current life to wake us up. We don't have to relive our past life. We don't have to know everything, but it is part of who our true self is, and our knowledge. That's in the Akashic records. We have the knowledge of our past lives. And so it's there to help enrich us. We learn from this life and bring it up to our true higher self. And then that enriches God, the universe, humanity. And so anyway, and that was a marker, past life, the animals, the isolation. But I find this story very special. I had my dog Henry, who passed away, and I knew he was going to pass away in the last year when he did. And I began to prepare myself. And I also thought at one point, well, after he's gone, and I had learned that, from Sybil that I was probably a queen and the Mary Queen of Scots and all that. And I thought, after he's gone, when I do get another dog, if it's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, I'll know that I was Mary Queen of Scots. Because one of Mary's favorite pets, who died with her, it was in the skirts of her dress when she was, executed. They found him under the skirts of her dress. It was a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. And my dog Henry was a dachshund, a long-haired dachshund. And so I thought, if my next dog is a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, I'll know that I was Mary Queen of Scots. So Henry does pass away, and months and months and months go by. And finally, I get an opportunity to get another dog. I don't know if I was quite ready, but, my heart was crying out for another dog. And it's a long-haired dachshund. And I'm like, okay, I loved Henry, so I can, this is fine. So one day after I get my new dog, Kiaran, who you've seen, I see this video of a dog that looks just like him. And it says Dachshund. So I look up Dachshund, and it means dachshund mixed with Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. I was like, okay, that's the universe just told me that, I really do feel like was Mary Queen of Scots. Now my connection to John, I'm trying to wrap this up quick. I thought, well, what if John was Mary Queen of Scots and I was his mother, Mary of Guise, or someone else? But he intuitively, I keep getting that, no, I was Mary Queen of Scots. However, the birthdays do, it's funny how these things align. And birthdays are just like on numbers and codes and timelines and markers of our past lives and soul connection. And so John was killed on December 8th, 1980. Mary Queen of Scots was born on December 8th. 1540, I believe, 1540. I have birthdays, my birthday and family and my kids that match up with a lot of John's, his family and friends and loves. And Coco's watching me on the screen. It all matches up. So anything else? I'm trying to think. Oh, I've always loved Scotland. I've had dreams of Scotland. I should, love Ireland more, but really I feel more drawn to Scotland now. So last year, as I was doing all this research, thistle, which is the flower of Scotland, which is the flower of Mary Queen of Scots, thistle grew all over my front yard. And I'm in Kansas, in America. And this summer, a huge thistle plant with spikes and the flowers grew right by where I sit every day. Where I sit in the backyard looks just like the Queen of Pentacles card with all the flowers and the vines and a big thistle sitting there. So, I think I was her. And I would love to go and see where she lived. Obviously I don't want to relive a lot of the horrible events of her life, but I'm fascinated and curious. So I just thought I would share that story. You guys, thanks for listening, and yeah, take care. Bye.